2024 is an absolutely special year because my YouTube channel celebrates its 10-year anniversary. For just only this year, if you would like to support me, you can do that now via visiting paypal.me/BrettCaliber. But if you do not like to do any charity, you can help yourself by buying a Windows 10 or 11 Pro retail key for still $12.50 only. That would also greatly support me. Anyway, I want to thank you all for 10 years of your amazing support. Hello everyone, welcome to this bit of a special video where I would like to show you a little bit how I get the visuals, as you can see here, for my showcases, because lately I'll get a lot of questions how it comes that my version of Skyrim Special Edition looks better than yours. Well, we probably still have the same Wabbajack from my tutorial, so in this case that is the NGVO version 2. Why it looks better in my videos than it does at your own PC. So a lot of times people complain that their version look too grayish, too dark, too boring, too dull, that kind of stuff. So spoiler alert for this video, mostly I do this with applying different weather effects and setting different times. Before we go there, I thought it would be good to start with the scratch, starting from the beginning, how I usually test things, how I usually create showcases, have these kind of graphics. So first, basic stuff is maybe console commands, and I would recommend first creating some kind of test character on your modded Skyrim, where you can test out weapons, weather effects, time of day, that kind of stuff, and then using your actual character to do the playthrough, and don't bother about all of this. So if you do this, you can test a lot of things first, make sure everything is to your liking before you start your actual playthrough. First thing I usually do is I will apply some console commands. The first one is TGM, well, that's just God mode, because in case you're wandering around creating showcases, testing stuff, and you fall from a mountain, you die and you have to do everything over again. So that's a pretty standard command. And the other one is I'm using is T-detect, and this disables AI detection. Why should you care? Well, an example, if you're running around testing things and all of a sudden some random wolf is attacking you and you are actually recording a showcase or just testing things, it's really annoying, yeah, and you have to be constantly on your guard, and the T-detect command gives you some rest. And also, for the ones who didn't know, if you type in TM, that disables the HUD, so you have way nicer how do you say it, interface. Well, it completely disables the interface if you want to create showcases. So that is regarding the most important console commands I would recommend. Then starting with a little bit of basic stuff, and that are the actual in-game settings. People sometimes forget to look after that, but you should definitely do that. So you want to go to your settings, display, make sure all the sliders here are set to maximum. Because if not, you will have just half fade bars, an example. You will only have half grass generation or half actor generation, item generation, and the pop-up probably looks way worse for you. So that's a thing to start first. And then also you want to go to your Skyrim in Steam. And a quick note, never actually play your Skyrim via Steam directly. You always want to do it via Mod Organizer if you're using a Wabbajack, in this case, an example. And from there you want to actually start the game. But for settings, there is the Skyrim launcher, which you can only access via Steam and launching the game, as in starting it but not actually playing it. Because before Skyrim will launch, it will first give you the Skyrim launcher, where you can also increase and adjust settings. So in there, also don't forget to adjust settings to make sure the basic game settings are the same, or a maximum. So yeah, you don't get bottlenecked or something like that. Then before, I'm going to show you how to work with lighting and time of day. A lot of questions I got is which weapon mods I'm using. Well, the ones you're currently seeing here is called the Silverthorn Weaponry. It's an expansion pack on top of the current vanilla weapons. So I will make sure to add a link in the video description. And I also have the vanilla weapon replacer, which will, yeah, let me check, will just replace the vanilla weapons with very great looking weapons. An example, these two maces. These are vanilla, is an overall for the vanilla weapons. So in this case, the vanilla maces look like this. So yeah, I think it really adds immersion to the game, that it just looks way better. So with that out of the way, let's focus on the main subject, time and weather. Well, the thing is, changing weather and adjusting time can absolutely change the way your Skyrim looks. So an example here, it's not a bad weather type, but I usually got the complaints after people installing NGVO that things look a little bit too dark. And I think an example, something, I don't know, like cloudy weather, setting the game hour to 10 or something. This is not too bad, but as you can see here, this looks already a little bit more boring lighting and doesn't look really, really nice. But then again, if you set the weather to 12 and you would, an example, this is the wrong menu, set this cloudy variant, as you can see here, it looks already different, like it is a completely different EMB and weather type. And this is just only setting the weather and the time of day to really give it, a complete unique feel. And that's, really random. If you just randomly play NGVO 2, you'll get a random weather and a random time of day. So how do I adjust this? I have this mod called Fenderix Weather Changer. The Fenderix Weather Changer also will include a link in the video description. Allows you to set a hotkey on your keyboard and on the fly just adjust weather types. Boom, just like that. So clear weather, cloudy weather. I don't know if we want to have a bit of rain. It just looks way different. And how to set time? First, let me set the weather back to something like this. So you can set time by typing in set game hour and then 2, and that you can change the hour. So an example, if I want 2 p.m., I set it to 14. And as you can see, every time I set a different time, it changes the way the world looks. It's just like real life. So an example, also in real life, sometimes like influencers and Instagram photographers want to have this perfect golden hour for sunrise or sunset, then you can actually do that by setting it to 5, 6 p.m. maybe. And here, as you can see here, you have a beautiful sunset, sunrise effect with this glowing sun. And especially if you force a cloudy weather, it looks already different. And if I would hide the HUD, as you can see, this looks very, very realistic and very nice with the glow from the sun going under over the landscape here. This really, really changes the way how your Skyrim looks. So yeah, this is pretty much it what I do with my Skyrim. I just play with weather and time. And an example, if I want to have a very nice clear weather type, I just set one of the clear variants and I set it somewhere in the early afternoon, like 1 p.m. or something. Boom, you have a completely different look for the game. So this is something which absolutely can change your game. Again, only would do this with a test character to mess around with time and weather. I would recommend. For the rest, I would definitely leave. If you're going to do an actual playthrough, don't mess with time and weather. But then at least you know why in my videos sometimes it can look better than in yours, and it's nothing to do with your mod list or something. We're using the same mod list, but it is weather and time. So one last thing I can recommend, if you want to do some showcases, it of course really depends on the location in Skyrim where you are, where things look good. One of the more areas which have the, let me see, go to Fogred, which have the best looking landscape, especially if we're talking about NGVO version 2, which I'm using, and maybe if you followed my graphics tutorial, you'll also using NGVO version 2, is around Fogred. It has the best implementation of landscapes. Let me set the time to 3. And it really shows, let's see, go here. And it really shows what this mod list in combination with all the landscape mods can do, because it just looks amazing and gives you all the potential. So here around, usually this is an area where I usually go to record forest stuff. So the great thing about NGVO is that the clear weather types are not looking unrealistically plasticky, because that's what a lot of EMBs have, that if you're using a clear weather type, that it just looks way too over brightened and way, where like close-up stuff looks good, like an example here as well, but it looks really too washed out, too overly bright, but not with this EMB from NGVO 2. The great thing about NGVO 2 is that you can use all weather types, so that includes all the bright weather variants. So regular clear weather, you know, it just looks great, really, really great. And yeah, like I said, this area I really love just running around. Maybe because it gives me like an Oblivion vibe, like the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. And yeah, for that, I think this is a great area to do showcases. Other areas I can recommend if you want to test out the performance of your PC is in Riften, so around the area of Riften, in the forest there. And here in Falkred are usually the most heavy areas to run. So if you want to do somewhat of a benchmark, if you run around either of those two areas and you still get solid 60 FPS, your specs are good to go. And also around Riverwood, if you go a little bit south towards Helgen here, this area also is really, really nice. And yeah, it almost connects to Falkred. So I would say these foresty areas here, they look absolutely the best. Of course, these areas here are nice, but yeah, the most dense areas usually look the best when it comes to vegetation, forest, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would say there's one other weather type, which people really underestimate how amazing it can look, and that is the foggy variant. So an example, you do have foggy weather, the regular fog, and this is just very thick fog. However, Skyrim also has fog variants, an example 1 and 2. Let me see. For some reason it's not changing that much. Let me switch to fog variant 1. Alright, so this looks dark, but what's really cool is that if you go to an area which has like a transition between trees and non-trees, this really looks very realistic all of a sudden. An example, almost like you have a new EMB, like an realistic EMB and a realistic weather mod, but it is just forcing a weather type. Let me do it again because it's already clear enough. So as you can see here, maybe this looks better. This, yeah, it is a really cool weather type to force, especially in forests, to mess around with. But pretty much that are all the weather types, you know. Here, as you can see, you hear the light falling through the trees on the ground floor. It looks really nice. So, but I guess, yeah, my favorites are just the regular cloudy and sunny weather. But then again, if I would do an actual playthrough, I would just let the game decide weather and time for me. Because an example, if I would force regular cloudy weather, and look how much of a difference, by the way, this immediately does. And then set the time to like 3 AM in the night. Also, night sky definitely has its atmosphere, you know. As you can see here, the moonlight shining through the trees absolutely looks great. And also very atmospheric. And that's also great about this EMB. It has the lumen mod, and it has the lumen lighting, I should say. And it looks playable at night. I know an example, some lighting mods like enhanced lights and effects, they look really great indoors, but it's almost unplayable outdoors because it's just too dark. And also even in caves sometimes, if you don't have a light source, it's hard to play actually the game itself, you know. But with NGVO 2 also, you can play in every weather condition, every lighting condition, every weather type. It all looks great, it all looks natural, it all has still the Skyrim vanilla feeling, which I think is a great achievement. And yeah, with that, I would say we can end this video because I don't want to make it that long. But so bottom line short, why does my showcases sometimes look better than your game, even while we have the same Wabbajack? Mostly weather and time. Play with that, and then you will see that your game can also look great, just like mine, as it does here. And yeah, it just, again, like I said, NGVO is for me currently the top Wabbajack. It's just a simple all-in-one auto installer. Everyone can do it. Nobody ever has to sit an entire Sunday trying to figure out the many endless mods and configurations. With Wabbajack, everything will be done for you automatically. So that's pretty much it I wanted to explain. If you have any questions, just let me know, and hope to see you in one of my next videos. So take care and bye bye.